Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I know I haven't been on camera before, but it's me. I'm Toya, and I'm here to give you my 2 cents on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 13, Episode 1. Now, I have to say before I get into this video, one, I'm sweating because I've tried to do this a million times and I'm almost going to be late for work, but by the grace of God, that won't happen. And two, I have my notes here because, again, I'm a little nervous because I haven't been on camera before and I hope this goes great. Now, the name of my channel is obviously Toya's 2 cents. I'm Toya. I'm here to give you my 2 cents. So let's get into our change first and sort this mess out. So the episode opens up with Kenya, Cynthia, Candy, and Portia each giving their individual accounts of, what's been happening since this whole pandemic. And, it's hit everyone, old, young, rich, poor. This thing has affected literally everyone, whether you have it or has gotten it and got over it, or know someone who's contracted it, or, we're still in it. So be vigilant, wear your masks, wear your sanitizers. Use your sanitizers and, stay clean out there. Anyway, we move on to seeing some powerful imagery of Portia, being Portia Luther King, as Andy calls her, and Cynthia apparently. It's very powerful to see how Portia has grown. Everyone else seems to have the same opinion about this. From when we first got introduced to Portia on The Real Housewives of Atlanta, everyone thought of her as pretty much, an airhead. She thought the Underground Railroad was really a railroad with, running trains and everything. And I'm so glad she's so far past that now, and kudos to Portia about that. We move on to Cynthia's driveway. Cynthia is in her driveway hosting a little shindig because, the girls haven't seen each other in a while, and they're hosting a little quarantine get-together and trying to be socially safe. Cynthia, I have to say, you're wearing your quarantine weight very well. Honey came out with body yaddy yaddy. And you were wearing a flowy dress, and the world saw what was back there, girl. And you're glowing and you're beautiful. I can only say I hope great things are happening in your relationship, because this really suits you. The model in you is probably gonna tell you want to be a tinier size, but I like your little weight gain. Go ahead, Sin. Candy shows up first, and they start to catch up about the family and, Blaze and him being a young black boy being raised into a, nice grown black man, strong black man, and the obstacles and challenges he's gonna have to face, or hopefully won't have to face because of, changes that hopefully will come from these unfortunate situations. Can They talk about their COVID weight also, and like I said, everyone's out here struggling, including me. I got back into the gym as soon as all this was lifted enough for me to get back in the gym. So, I understand the struggle, and keep at it, everyone. So Marlo shows up next, and of course Marlo always has to be extra. Marlo doesn't have a peach, and she's always going to be trying to work towards getting one. I'm not mad at it. Go ahead, Marlo. I like seeing you on camera. You're entertaining. Sometimes you're messy, but it's the beginning episode, so let's see what you have to serve down the line. She comes up there and she has her thermometer and her welder shield and tape measure and just extra. Anyway, they start talking about big nipples and nipple preferences and Portia and her activism and how she's come a long way. And like I said, everybody agrees about what's going on with Portia. She seems to be moving in a direction. She's very passionate about what she's doing. I could tell this is not, just something she's doing for TV. She's really out there on the front lines. She's getting hurt. So, big ups to you, Portia. They FaceTime Kenya, and Kenya hurries Cynthia off the phone, and I've got to believe it's because of these Bravo cameras, because her face wasn't beat. She was looking a mess. Her debut moment wasn't here so she could explain her weight gain. At least that's my 2 cents. I don't know what you feel. Drop down in the comments if you feel differently and let me know. Oh, I think there's makeup on my oh gosh. Guys, don't mind me. I'm a mess. Anyway, Kenya, yeah, I know you were just sitting in that car and we didn't get any full body shots, but we could tell that you gained some lbs, and nothing's wrong with that. I'm not fat shaming. Don't come for me in the comments, but I'm just saying, everyone was infected. Everyone was affected one way or another by this whole COVID-19 situation. And even if it's not that you contracted it could be your mental state. It could be, your physical state. It could be a number of things. But one way or another, we're going to have to be vigilant and try to get out of this. That reminds me of a meme I saw, but let's not talk about memes. I will be here all day. So she's talking to her friend Brandon on the phone while she's driving, and she's all confused and discombobulated, and she doesn't know where she's going. She's not paying attention to the GPS, and they go for break. But before they do, she continues to talk to Brandon about not getting the attention she needs from Mark and what she's been going through. And to be honest, we've seen it. And you stayed. So remember when you was Ken? I'm not laughing at that woman's despair. God knows we all got problems. Let's move on. Kenya meets with the divorce attorney, and I know it's been a minute since, you know, this Mark guy shows up, but somehow I didn't think it was 3 years. Anyway, Kenya lies about, you know, doing well, or I think that's what she did. At least that's what's in my notes. And she was telling her divorce attorney about, you know, bad communication and how much she's a great communicator and how Mark is mentally abusive, and, you know, the way he talks to her, he talks out the side of his neck all the time, and he thinks all of this is okay. And she moves on to say they had no prenup, which by now no one in entertainment is getting married without a prenuptial agreement of some sort. I mean, at this point, you know, in the past, people used to make a big deal out of it in terms of, you know, it takes love out of the equation if you introduce a prenuptial agreement. But, you know, life happens and things change and people grow apart, and you never know, and you have to protect yourself in these things. But, you know, live and learn. I can't say what one person would do over another, so go ahead and start it out, girl. Anyway, she goes on to say she gives Mark a car, and they don't have a custody agreement, and she's worried about having said agreement because Mark has never been alone with their child. Mark has other children, but he's never been one-on-one with their child together. Every time they visit him in New York, he comes over the hotel and he stays with them and stuff like that. And she's worried about his capabilities, I guess, when it comes on to taking care of the child on their own, on his own. Interview what's Mark relationship. Oh, so the producers ask, what's Mark relationship with, was it the child? Common sense is telling me the child. Okay, let's move on. Anyway, she answers and says, Kenya answers and says, that's a loaded question. And she basically gave no answer. She says she doesn't have an answer for that. It's a loaded question and she'd rather not answer. So they moved on. She goes back to, the clip jumps back to the divorce attorney's office, and she's telling him how they've been separated for 10 months. And to be honest with you, I think the talk with the divorce attorney yielded no new information. Don't look at my notes. Yielded no new information. Basically, Kenya didn't walk in there getting any new news, any new information, anything that she didn't already know. But, you know, Bravo cameras need footage, so take us along. The attorney gave her some kind words and sent her on her way. Anyway, we get back to Portia's story, and Portia is, again, keeping Breonna Taylor's memory alive, and she's talking about working with Tamara Mallory with their organization Untold Freedom, and they flash back to Portia talks about, you know, her childhood and her grandfather, Jose, and what he stood for, and, you know, how She experienced racism at a very early age, and she didn't know what that was about at first. And like I said, she has come a very long way. It's in her lineage. Got that word from Ayanla. I fix my life lady. So yeah, big ups to you, Portia. I think this light keeps going up and down. It might be just me, but you like my nails? I have very big hands, so I have to keep my nails done all the time, or I just look like Captain Man hands. Let's go. So Portia gives her disclaimer on camera, before she goes back into the battlefield, goes back on the front lines, to represent for, the Black Lives Matter movement, represent for Breonna Taylor, represent for all those people that lost their lives to senseless violence. Guys, don't roast me in the comments, please. I'm nervous still. Anyway, she says, she is doing this for her baby PJ. Baby PJ is so, I just love her cheeks. Oh, and that baby is Dennis. I know last season you had some words, because someone said that, Portia, but your baby looks like her father. Nothing's wrong with that. Anyway, she gives her disclaimer. She's saying she's of sound mind and body, basically. She knows what she's doing. She's fighting for justice. She doesn't want to kill herself. She doesn't intend to, do any harm to herself. But, if she must be out there, she's going to be out there and staying strong and standing in this thing for as long as she can. So they go to commercial break and they come back with Candy, Todd, and, some of the family in the driveway. The new baby, what's the little one called? Forgot his name. And Candy's oldest daughter, Riley. And they're, having a family moment, washing the car, and they get to talking about, Riley going off to college and college expenses. And I've known, I don't know, but from what Candy has portrayed over the years is that she's very money smart. So, she's not, even though she's wealthy, she's not out here making horrible monetary decisions. And she's explaining to Riley that, listen, you were going to a private school before and that cost money, so I was always paying for your education. However, college is a whole new ballpark, and even though I can afford it, you have to understand that this is not your money, it's my money. Okay, so they get to talking about Riley's dad, and Riley's basically saying, she's over it. She sees him have relationships with his other children. So, over the years, he's popped up here and there like a whack-a-mole, but no real support, whether, physically, as in physically being there, or otherwise. And, Candy gets to talking about, how much child support Block owes. That's Riley's dad, Block. How much child support he owes over the years. He just stopped paying it. And that's the thing sometimes that I can't stand with, fathers that don't take care of their children. sometimes you feel as if because the mother makes her own money and the mother is financially stable, then that absolves you of all fatherly duties. And I'm here to tell you, you couldn't be more wrong. Kids need their fathers, and you know, the more people they have around them as support, you know, I think is a better upbringing for these young men and young women that we're trying to raise, and or whatever pronouns they choose to be referred to as. Okay, so Todd chimes in with his opinion, and it got me a little nervous for just the viewership, in terms of a lot of people might have the opinion to say, well, Todd is not Riley's real dad, and he shouldn't have an opinion one way or the other. He should just stay out of it and let Riley's dad do what Riley's dad do, and, try to have no opinions on it. However, my 2 cents is that Todd has every right to say whatever the hell he wants. Granted, he got into Riley's life when she was, not a baby. I mean, she wasn't a toddler. She was old enough to understand, his relationship with her mother, where this was going, the fact that her father was not around, and all of the above. So when Todd came in and a lot of pressure hit Todd had to deal with Mama Joyce and all her shenanigans. Mama Joyce talking about him and Carmen. He had to deal with Todd had to deal with so much throughout the course of his marriage to Candy, and they're still there and they're still going strong. And that should put some respect on his name, because, if he was a weaker man, he would have been left. Money or no money, once, a lot of people would disagree with that, but if you feel that Todd is just there for the money at this point in their marriage, please drop down in the comments and tell me I'm stupid. Anyway, point being, his opinion matters. So we see some more of Portia's activism, and, like I said, this is very powerful. Activisms and weight gains. This is what the episode is all about. We go to break, and we come back, and Kenya invites over Cynthia and Candy, and she's handing Cynthia these little hospital booties to protect her shoes from some construction that she's doing, some additions to her property. And what's a Housewife franchise without some good old construction, right? So she is showing them what's going on, and showing them where her jacuzzi is going to be, and telling them how, Mark didn't want a pool, and so she just didn't have a pool. And to that I have to say, like, Mark is from New York, and I'm not saying, I live in New York. I'm not saying there aren't pools in New York, but there's not an abundance of pools like there is in states further to the south. And with that being said, I find it that, when New Yorkers get out of town, they want to go somewhere, we want to be where the pool's at. We want to go in the ocean. We want to frolic. We want to just be by a pool all day, just basking in the sunshine. So why would you want a pool, Mark? Anyway, oh snap, it's time for me to go to work. How much more I got? Let's finish this up. So, yeah, so she gets inside and she complains about, laundry, household stuff, things that they have to do themselves now that we're experiencing a pandemic out here and the maids can't come and the babysitters can't come and the chefs can't come, and it's just a hot mess out here. So they're complaining about daily chores, and we have to do everything on our own. And I'm not saying that it's an excuse, because my apartment is very small, so I don't have as much space to cover and clean. So, good luck to you in that, girl. And they get to talking about, sex, because anytime Candy's in a room, sex always comes up. And how Kenya visited Mark 2 weeks prior, and she hasn't seen him for about 5 months. And once they get there, once she gets to New York and she sees him, the first day goes fine, because she transforms into Ken. And by day 2, boom, somebody call, I don't know who to call for this, but call somebody. This needs a crowd. So she tells them, Candy and Cynthia, what the attorney says about her having 2 options moving forward with this. Either she has a divorce or she has a separation agreement, and how Mark talks crazy and he's not around and he doesn't see anything wrong with his behavior. And her friends are basically at this point saying, hit the road, Jack. What's wrong with this light? It just got darker. Is it me? I gotta get out of here. We go to a break, and Cynthia's is in her home with her assistant Chandler, and Mike walks in talking to his publicist Keita about his book that he's finally finished and is very excited about. Let me come closer, because this light is acting crazy and I've got to go. So I have to say, I like how they were both working, but once they got into a room with each other, and Mike looked genuinely shocked when he walked into the room, as if he didn't know the private cameras were already set up. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he didn't know. So he walks into the room and they both kick everybody out. Chandler's gone and publicist Keita's gone off the phone, and they get to having a moment. They giggled for a little bit, but then the conversation got serious. When the conversation turned serious, Cynthia was basically saying, her perfect wedding date is going to be ruined due to Corona. And Mike is saying that even if there is nobody there but me, you, and the pastor, what's wrong with that? Do you want to marry me, or do you want to show off? I mean, you've done this a couple times before, so, well, not a couple, but Cynthia's been engaged a bunch, so yeah, it's hard to put that kind of pressure on this man. Maybe you should let up. I mean, obviously this was filmed months ago, so we know that the wedding already took place, but it's me reacting to what's happening on screen, guys. So let's just see this unfold, right? Anyway,
She is talking about she wanted 250 people at the wedding. It's probably going to have to be 50. And, she's explaining to Mike about men versus women when it comes on to wedding planning. And to her credit, she does have a point. Women get a little more into all of this. We're a little more sentimental. We want everything to be perfect, but the pandemic is not his fault. So maybe you could adapt like the rest of us. Okay. So she's having a flashback to her disasters of her last wedding with Peter, and how, her sister Mallory and her mama was plotting, and how everyone was haters, and it had taken some toll on her, and she just wants her wedding to be perfect, which is understandable. Let me turn this light up because it's already up, so I don't know what's happening. Next. Oh yeah, so basically Mike is asking, if people can't be there, will he be enough? Is he enough for her at the end of the day? Is he enough, Cynthia? That's all you want to know, girl. That's all you want to know. So we go to Louisiana, Kentucky. And Portia is there, still on the front line, still keeping Breonna Taylor's name alive. And apparently I am too, because this episode gave so much of that we have to talk about it. So here we are. She gets arrested, and this is a big moment for Portia. She's been arrested in the past, but for frivolous, childish things. And now she's been arrested for a cause that she's very passionate about. And, the passion is exuding. It's radiating from the screen, at least in my apartment. I don't know what came off of you guys' screen. We go to break, and we come back to see Candy and Todd with business number 495. They have a new restaurant. They're developing a steakhouse, and they're talking about the layout of it. Todd wants a lounge area, and Candy is like, no, we need all the space we could get. We don't know when this pandemic is getting the HE double hockey sticks out of here, so let's get all the space we can in case we do have to place people 6 feet apart for a very long time. Fingers crossed, hopefully not. Cynthia called, and they were discussing Portia's arrest. Side note, guys, I have to say, I am not only impressed with Portia's growth, I'm impressed with how far Candy and Portia has come, from season back with that whole situation that I'm not even going to dredge up unless I have to later on. But with that whole situation, how far they came, because Candy was livid. Like, she didn't look like there was any coming back from this, and she shows genuine concern for Portia now. So, kudos on that, you guys. Portia comes out, and she talks about her jail experience. Triggered. And she said she would do it again. So the episode end, and they show what's coming later on down in the season. There's gonna be some new girl. Drop down in the comments and tell me if you're missing Miss Nene Leaks. And yeah. So that's the end of the video, and the end of the review. And I have to say, guys, I said it a bunch of times here already. I was a little nervous, and I hope you like what I had to say. I hope you agree with it. And if you don't, leave it in the comments and let me know if I could change anything, do anything differently, or if you want to see me more, or should I go back to the floating head. Bye!